Scorpio, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries for the week of May 9th to May 15th, 2023. This is what I'm looking at when I'm not making eye contact. Just, these are my notes, Scorpio. So what we're going to go over in this video is the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun. You don't need your natal chart or to know exactly where your natal sun is located, because I will provide the correlating dates, or at least estimate the correlating dates for you. But still, if you can, get your natal chart. In fact, all of you can. It's nothing. It's free. You just type in, you just search free natal chart, and there's so many websites that give it to you. What you'll need is your birth date, which you already have, time and place, which is all on your birth certificate. So if you don't have time to do it right now, it's okay. You don't need it for this reading, but it is going to make this reading a whole heck of a lot more accurate. Just an FYI. So let's go over the big things that are happening. Not much is happening. This is sort of like I don't want to say doldrums, maybe peace, maybe a little bit of peace. The biggest thing that's happening is Mercury is going direct. So on May 15th, Mercury goes direct at 5 degrees Taurus. And oh, plop, plop, fizz, fizz, what a relief it is. But it'll take a little bit of time into the week after to start, moving forward again. So let's give it another week after that. But I think, and a lot of the tail end, the real whiplash, can come this week into next week, toward the end of the retrograde and into the beginning of it's going direct. So it's like it's not over yet, but at least the end is near. So Mercury retrograde ends the 5th on May 15th. And then all week long, we have this conjunction between Uranus and the Sun. And actually, today, on May 9th, Uranus and the Sun are in perfect conjunction at 18 degrees Taurus. And that is, listen, all week long, they're going to be in conjunction within like 2 degrees of each other. So it's a tight conjunction no matter what. But this is the day of the perfect conjunction. What does it mean when the Sun conjuncts Uranus? What does it mean? It means brilliance. It means bright ideas. It means major technological breakthroughs. It means thinking outside of the box and loving the odd and not wanting to be predictable, and maybe even just an infusion of rebellion. So it would be really interesting to see what rebelliousness ensues on that day, especially in Taurus, something that could surprise us when it comes to financial systems or rebellion against said systems. But since it is in Taurus and there is just this brightness about it, it almost feels like it's coming from within, and it could surprise you. So I really like this energy. With Uranus, I don't try to predict too much, because Uranus is intentionally unpredictable. So expect the unexpected. That's all I can say this week. And definitely I will tell you guys who is going to be impacted the most and how. So let's get into what Scorpios should really, really be focused on. Scorpios, your natal sun, Scorpios, you should always know where Pluto is, and that's easy because Pluto doesn't move that much. It doesn't move that fast in terms of our lifespans. And Mars does move pretty quickly. I think it's around the sun every 18 months or so. So you don't have your Mars return every year, but just about every year and a half. You do have your Mercury return every year, and you also have your Venus return every year. Absolutely. So let's get into it. Pluto is still in Aquarius. It is now in retrograde. It will retrograde back into Capricorn and plop back into Aquarius. Pluto goes retrograde every summer that I remember. Pluto goes retrograde around this time. It is for the rest of us, it's almost like it's like the beast is sleeping. It's still a beast. And if you wake it up, it's going to be bad. But it's not really sleeping. It's sort of digging. When Pluto goes retrograde, it's unearthing things. It's discovering the hidden. So outwardly it's more peaceful. It's just not as poignant, right? That's just not usually the way it is in retrograde. And that's why, because all week long, actually until June 15th, so about a month from now, Pluto is square to Jupiter, and for the next 2 weeks it's in opposition to Mars. This is an intense energy, and if it was Pluto direct, I'd be a little bit more worried. But I think Pluto retrograde calms it down just a bit to make it relentless, but not ruthless. And I like that energy. And we talked about that last week. Pluto long term is in a sextile to Neptune. And when I mean long term, I mean 2035. Yeah, so that's like 12 years from now, because Pluto and Neptune will be sextile for that long. That's a generational thing. That's a generational mindset of searching and changing the new through creativity, and maybe changing in some ways through delusion or dreams or the illusionary. But I think, since it is a sextile, I don't think it's delusion. I think it's changing through dreams, through possibility, through connection to God. Because Pluto and Neptune are both very, very spiritual. And the fact that there's a sextile there means that we need to get back to our purpose. We need to metamorphosize back to our true state of creativity and being able to create. So I think it's a very productive energy to be born underneath. Let's get into Mars. So Mars is going to move between 23 and 27 degrees Cancer this week. It is still in Cancer, not the happiest place for Mars. It's wishy-washy, doesn't make up its mind easily. It's like the warrior in full armor trying to swim. It'll do it. It's not going to drown, but it sure as hell isn't comfortable, and not much gets done. So that's kind of what it is. It is definitely more sensitive, a lot more moody, a lot more pop-off-ish. And being in opposition to Pluto and in square to Jupiter, a lot more pop-off-ish than might be pleasant, to be honest with you. A lot more emotional than really would be pleasant for us, just to be straightforward. Mars is also trine to Neptune, which is actually good energy, sort of taking action on or finding harmony with, maybe healing, maybe faith, getting more connected to your faith, like knowing and deciding what you believe in, taking action through faith, taking action through your God space, and following your intuition and your psychic abilities. Very, very high when Neptune trine Mars, Neptune sextile Mars. So I actually really love that energy for Mars. But it's not Mars. It's not the standard Mars stuff. Standard Mars stuff is 3D action, actionable, physical action. You can actually measure it, you can see it. This is in the body kind of action. Whereas this is more Mars in Cancer sextile to Neptune is more out of body action. So pay close attention to your dreams. They can matter a lot more and make more of a difference than your actions or what's going on in the external world in terms of your energy levels. Let's get into the decans, shall we? So a decan, if for those of you who haven't watched before, a decan is a group of 10 degrees. And every zodiac sign has 30 degrees. So there are 3 decans in each zodiac sign. There is decan 1, and that includes your natal sun, if your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Scorpio. Essentially, what this correlates to is October Scorpios. Basically, that's in and around that time. So that's from the Libra cusp around the 21st, 22nd of October into maybe up to the 1st, but definitely through the 30th of October. So October Scorpios, pay attention. That may also include, Halloween or 31st Scorpios as well, but that really depends on the year. I would definitely get your birth chart. And who am I kidding? If your birthday is Scorpio, 31st of October, Halloween, you already have a birth chart. Let's be straight with each other. So Scorpio ones, there's a lot going on for you this week, okay? Let's first sum up the long-term stuff. A square to Pluto, that's been there, and that's going to be there for a couple of years. That means there are a lot of changes, maybe painful changes or complications that are stemming from changes that are happening around you. This is intention, this is intensity, and it can get ruthless if you let it. Don't let it, because that will generate bad karma. Just an FYI, watch your motivation for actions for the next couple of years. Are you doing it to be ruthless and just get what you want? Or is it because it's driven and there's purpose behind it? Don't let your ego lie for you, because making really ruthless decisions and taking advantage of people in any different way will Pluto follows Dharma, right? He will always remember, and he'll tempt you. Oh, he's a mean motherfucker, okay? So he'll tempt you too. And it's just like, okay, what you need to do for the next couple of years is screw your morals to their sticking place and not defy them. And stand by them. And even though it'll be maybe harder for you to do so, you'll be happy that you did. You'll be happy that you did. So that's long term. This trine to Saturn, which means laws, rules, regulations, contracts, all of that going really nicely. And just a sort of motivation when it comes to career or harmony in your career, like not really looking for anything new, catching your stride, things starting to work out for you, all those things for the next year. And then we have, and then we have the South Node. So your natal suns are conjunct the South Node up through July, which makes them opposite the North Node. What does that mean? You could be getting a little too cozy, comfy. At least you know and you feel good about who you are, where you come from, and you're accepting and embracing your talents and skills, but there is an impetus to keep going, to try something new, to build out something new, to prepare to move forward. It won't let you go. It'll keep nagging you. That's what opposition to the North Node will feel like. But this week, if you are on the cusp of Libra and Scorpio especially, your natal sun is in direct opposition to Jupiter. And this is big-headed energy. This is the energy of somebody who is so certain about themselves, or the need to grow, or the need to get something good. Oh, I want it so bad. I got to go after it. Could make you impulsive. So that, combined with the fact that there's a trine to Venus and an opposition to Mercury, not a good thing. Because this will make you rush in too quickly to those ex's situations and expect too much and want to make your ex situation work out, totally forgetting why you were an ex to begin with. So slow your roll. I'm just warning you. Slow your roll. Pluto is watching. We also have a square to Mars. Only the cusps, though. Only the Libra cusps. So the square to Mars with your natal sun will make you impulsive. It'll make you horny. It'll make you intense. It'll make you think you could win anything. And with that opposition to Jupiter, it's even worse. So please know you could get yourself into some pretty stupid situations because impulses take over you this week and make you forget why things ended with past situations to begin with. Please be aware of that this week. Please. Scorpio 2s, your birthdays are basically, depending on the year, the beginning of November. So say November 1st through the 10th, the first 10 days, or November 1st through the 9th. The first 10 days of November is pretty much Scorpio 2s. So if your natal suns are between 10 and 19 degrees Scorpio, those are Scorpio 2s. Okay, your natal sun's long-term transit are in a quincunx to Chiron. So yeah, there's a lot of frustration and pain. There's a lot of suffering and having to learn through suffering and feeling like it's never going to end. And I understand why you feel that way, because Chiron moves slowly, and it's been quincunx to your natal suns for a while, and it will continue for a while, especially if you're more toward, I would say, like the 9th or 10th of November. This is just more like it will last a couple years longer for you. So, but that's okay, because the guys on the other side got it early on, right? But now it's sort of your turn, and since Chiron moves so slowly, you'll be dealing with these frustrating, painful lessons in life, especially physical, since Chiron is in Aries. FYI, another long term, but not as long as Chiron, is a trine to Saturn, which is a much nicer energy. It means, and this is for those of you in particular who are born on the 9th, 10th, 11th, maybe just the 10th or 11th, picking up that energy of a trine to Saturn, where you just like you guys will start having career advantages and start moving forward with your career, or start finding harmony and a pace, like a syncopation when it comes to your career, that you like your stride and you're feeling comfortable there. That's a really, really good thing. This week you have, another long term is opposition to Uranus, which we probably talked about before. This opposition to Uranus means that you're going to be getting curveballs thrown at you all the time. And a sense of almost dissonance in yourself of, I don't want to agree with anybody. I don't want to do this. That must be very difficult energy with that trine to Saturn, that sense of, I want to do something different. I want to rebel, but at the same time, I'm comfortable where I am, or I'm certain or sure of where I am. But there's a part of me that wants to constantly try something else, which could put you in harm's way of compromising a good thing. So just be wary of that for the next year or so. But this week, your natal suns are in opposition to our current sun, which includes opposition to Uranus conjunct the sun. So this is almost like, I want to rebel so bad it's bursting out of me. I don't want to see myself in a normal way. I don't want people to predict me. Like frustration when it comes to people think they know me, but they don't. You don't want to be predicted. This could give you a really ornery kind of energy and not be coming off so well when it comes to people who see you every day. When it comes to people who you're just meeting and socializing with, you could be quite delightful in surprising people and being like the oddball in the room, right? But people that you deal with every day, first of all, they'll get boring to you. And second of all, you'll start to agitate the crap out of them. So just be wary of that. And where your personality sits, it could also mean that there's a lot of breakthroughs that are happening, or curveballs that are happening, that is difficult, making life difficult for you to keep up with. Because Uranus is in Taurus, it could be financial. So be very cautious and very vigilant when it comes to what's going on with your finances, because things can pop up and then surprise you and cause trouble for you, and it's a month or so has gone by and you didn't know it was happening. That kind of energy. So be vigilant, especially with the finances, for the next couple of years. But with Sun conjunct Uranus, that's going to intensify the situation, and this could bring some crazy, unexpected stuff to light this week, because the sun does that. It throws light on things. So expect the unexpected to be revealed to you this week, Scorpio. And then we have Scorpio 3s. So Scorpio 3s, you're the last 10 days of Scorpio. You're definitely the Scorpio Scorpio Sagittarius cusp, from around, say, the 11th through the 21st of November. That would be correlating birth dates. Your natal suns are trine to Mars. This is a vital energy. It is a bunch of energy. It's feeling good in your body and feeling like you've caught your synchronicity and your certainty about your physical self. That's really wonderful. But you're also in quincunx to Venus, so there could be some frustration when it comes to finances or your relationships. FYI, just frustration with how you feel people are valuing you or not, as could be the case. You are in direct opposition to the sun by the end of the week. So the sun will go into the third decan of Taurus by the end of the week. And so those of you, say born around like the 9th or 10th, the 10th or 11th, especially you guys are going to be kind of feeling this energy, the opposition to the sun, and then the rest of you will get it too. So egotistical, egos clashing. The difference between you and Scorpio 2s is that your natal suns aren't also conjuncting Uranus. So there is less of a shocker, less of a surprise, and more of just the pure ego versus ego. You have a square to Saturn, which is long term. That means challenges at work, or challenges with contracts or promises that you've made, or just conflicts when it comes to authority or the law. FYI. You could be working that out too, but FYI. And then you have a sextile to Pluto, very long term, but this is opportunities in change. Opportunities with changes on the outside of you, helping to or opening up doors for you without you really having to do anything. You're really prime position for that. Another long term, you're trying to Neptune, which is an extremely creative energy. When your natal sun is trying to Neptune, you'll be coming up with a lot of wonderful ideas that could also, with a square to Saturn, not be pissing people off, but people just don't get it. They don't understand what you're doing, or because it hasn't happened yet. Right? And people never want to take a risk on something new, but you guys especially will want to, because you'll be creative. You'll just be creative geniuses. And then there, for this week into next week, is a quincunx to Jupiter, which is frustration in growth, wanting to grow before you're ready to grow, or thinking you should be moving faster than you are, or coming up upon obstacles that are taking longer than you really want them to. That could be a problem. These could be things getting in your way, especially, I don't know, financial obligations or circumstances or situations, because Jupiter is in Taurus now, and that's when it goes quincunx to your natal suns. So be vigilant with that for the next couple of weeks. I love you so much, guys. Please let me know in the comments below. You know I love to know. And please do subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you know when I upload your favorite content. I do a new video for Scorpio every single week. And come on over and watch my Born Without Boundaries Tarot week ahead tarot card reading, because it's going to be some wonderful stuff. And I hope to see you there. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week.